Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sporting Perspective. I'm Sean, and the quarterfinals are now complete. We've got four teams remaining, and history has been made in this World Cup. It is the first time ever that the one, two, three, four world ranked teams are the final four. Can you believe it? That's the first time it's ever happened. It's like FIFA couldn't have scripted it any better. Uh, but David James, thank you so much for being here. Um, Before we jump into these games, I'll pass it to you first, James, and then David. What was your biggest takeaway from those four, I would say, great quarterfinal games?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is probably Belgium. I thought for getting crapped on all tournament, I thought they played really well. Spain, in pure Spain fashion, it seems the last couple games for them scored a late winner from Mikel Marino. Um, or actually, was it Mikel Marino or is he? Yeah, it was. Now I'm forgetting.
It was.
Yeah, yeah. So Mikel Marino scored the last two game winners for Spain. Um, But my big takeaway is I just think Belgium for being in the end of their golden generation. I thought they had a really good tournament. They definitely had opportunities where they I think could have beaten that Spanish team, but it just wasn't their day. Um, we saw the Spanish defense finally break, and they allowed a goal. But yeah, my biggest takeaway is probably just how well Belgium played, and I thought they showed a lot of class coming off that absolute drudging of United States.
I think my biggest takeaway from this last round of games is that France is just operating at a level well beyond the rest of the tournament. Even though we're down to great teams, the margin just feels smaller for everybody else but France. They just find a way to win handedly at all these games. I really thought Morocco was going to push them a little bit harder, and I think they did in that first half. But France just has so much quality. Even Spain, as James had mentioned there, looked vulnerable for a bit against Belgium, and even though that their defense has been so good, and maybe that will be enough to really give France a match, I still think that France is just so far and away better. There were moments in all the games, I think, except for that one, where you felt like it could have gone either way. But I just don't think anybody else stands out quite like they have the whole tournament, frankly. And even though so many big teams have advanced deep into the tournament, I don't feel like that many teams have really been that impressive on their path. And maybe that's just a testament to the true depth of this tournament. Even the teams that we might write off on paper are hanging around there and making things interesting against the the big boys. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited for like an all blue blood semifinal.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is the fact that, it was last episode or the episode before, we kind of said Capo Verde put themselves on the map. They're going to be one of the biggest winners of this tournament. Individually, Harlan's got to be individually the biggest winner of this tournament at this point. Also, the fact Norway really gets put on the map. But I saw something. I mean, he gained just in the last month 24 million followers on Instagram. I mean, he was already, very popular in Europe, and he's just his popularity, his likability, has really put him on a different level of not only footballers around the world, but just pure humans around the world. Because there's people that follow him now that have nothing to do with football, and just love him for who he is. So I gotta say, one of the biggest takeaways is I know Norway, the glass slipper kind of ran out. They kind of just ran out of steam there, but um, even though they're not the big winners, they're gonna walk away one of the probably top three or four talking points of this whole tournament when it's all said and done. And it's going to be interesting to see what momentum they have in the years to come because they're a young nation, and not a very big nation, but they're all young. And my only other talking point, really quickly, is France has been, this kind of goes into the next round. France, Spain, and England have all really been tested. Argentina really is just a flair for the dramatic, getting some help out from the referee and VAR wherever they can, and they haven't really played in national. What Switzerland was the toughest team they played, 19 in the world. They're getting a real jump here now, having to go play England at 4. They just haven't been tested much here in the last month, so it's going to be interesting to see if this Argentina team can play with a top 3, 4 team in the world.
I mean, they're winning. You
Yeah.
can't fault them for that. But yeah, it's not in any dominating fashion by any means.
They
They're
kind of
squeaking by.
they feel like the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. It's like, all right, it's not pretty, but in the end, they just win. And it's just
Yeah,
like, how did that happen again?
the ball's bouncing their way. I will say, after looking back at that dive by, I'm blanking on the dude's name, Ngolo or whatever his name is, the striker for Switzerland. I mean, I watched it on Twitter, and I think they made the right call. At first, I was like, "Oh, come on," but then he didn't even get touched.
Yeah.
I think it was a little harsh just in the moment that I know I've criticized some of the red cards in this tournament. We haven't seen too many egregious yellows, I feel like, but I don't know. It just seems like things always seem to go Argentina's way, and whether it's a little help from FIFA sending these messages down to their referees, whether it's just bias because Messi's the greatest of all time. You see it in every other sport that guys who have the respect of the league of the world, the calls seem to go their way more often than not, and that's just part of the human element there. So I don't know.
It was a second yellow though, right?
It
It
was,
wasn't
and
straight red, yeah.
I don't recall what how deserving that first yellow was, but I mean that the game was forever changed right then. Yeah, you just hate to see a match like that where it was so back and forth. Switzerland really looked good for a lot of that game, a lot of scoring opportunities, and then it's just they were playing for penalties the second that play happened, and everything just shifts.
Yeah. It's one of those things in soccer overall. I wish that rule can be changed where the going down 11-10 is such a harsh penalty. I mean, I get, you can't foul, and go crazy and stuff like that. But had that guy just been, hey, you're out of this game, and they could put another guy in, that you're 100% right. The moment that happened around the 60th minute, Switzerland actually had the momentum at that point. But right when that happened, it was just, all right, for the next hour, we got to find a way to get the penalties. And they almost did it. But,
Yeah, I mean, the fact they made it to extra time was.
yeah, they almost got there. But it's such a harsh penalty in my opinion that I wish that at some point someone could say, yeah, let's revisit this. Let's see a way where it's fair for both sides, where a whole team isn't getting destroyed halfway through a game or match.
Right.
One thing I do want to bring up before we get to the previews, I don't know if you guys saw, but Infantino, the FIFA president, came out and said that he is potentially looking at expanding to 64 teams in 2030. So I'm curious what you guys think about that. 64 teams.
David, you go first.
As ludicrous as this idea is, I really do think the expansion currently has been a success on the FIFA level. I think there's you can say a lot from a fan perspective, but that is not particularly relevant to FIFA's interests. The fan base, what could you even do to this tournament to make it unwatchable? There's nothing. They can change anything they want, and 64 teams is just more eyes, more fans, more great stories. I don't see why they wouldn't do it, to be honest.
My only reason why I will say maybe it's interesting is it seems like they're holding a lot out still from tournament to tournament. And we do know that this next 2030 tournament is going to be held in Six Nations. So maybe they are going to extend
Is it
the.
6 or 3?
It's six. It's so technically the Spain, Portugal, Morocco technically run it, but because it's like the 100th year, they're also playing matches in Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay. So maybe they're going to like add more matches over there because of it and be like, okay, those groups are just gonna start there and they're gonna just play the beginning of the tournament out there rather than after their first match. Now they got to jump over across the sea. It's gonna be wild. I don't agree with it, but maybe that's what they're thinking because I like 32 and I understand the jump to 48. It's definitely been great for matches, great for stories like Cabo Verde, but 64 right off the bat, right after doubling in 8 years seems like a lot.
I
So,
think one of the biggest reasons that it's worked so well for how FIFA has set this up is that it, it provided almost a warm up for these big teams to
yeah,
like build momentum and allow their stars to. If you look at the Golden Boot race, how often has it ever been in these tournaments where it's just household name after household name on these lists?
yeah,
I think that's because of some of the talent disparity with this, and those fans don't. Nobody really seems to care. Like, does it really matter at the end of the day when you're watching? You have something for Sports Center. You have the Messi highlight that everybody wants to see.
mm.
It's not that relevant who it's against, to be honest, in
I
terms of interest.
yeah, I will say this too. It kind of doubles your point of it really goes to show like yeah, Messi's just that much better, and like some of these guys that we just talk about are just like oh yeah, they're just way better when they're playing like the 50th team in the world rather than having to go through a gauntlet the whole way through and getting a few goals here and there but really having to work hard to do it. It kind of gives us our analogy of like LeBron James when he's going up against like Puerto Rico. It's like oh yeah, he's doing silly stuff that's just not supposed to happen.
I think we are getting to a point though where I don't want to say the rest of the world's catching up, but like back in like the 60s and 70s when it was UCLA and Indiana every year. I mean, the Arizonas who were playing in like the WAC against New Mexico, the Gonzagas. I mean, there's so much more parity. I feel like I'm going to use college basketball as an example in their March Madness tournament. Um, Obviously, at the end of the day, especially now in the NIL era, it seems like the Blue Bloods and the best teams are at least making it to the Final Four. But I think a lot of these countries are getting better at football. I mean, the U.S. was a nothing country in football until basically '94. Now we're what 16th in the world rankings. Teams like Norway, who hadn't competed in the World Cup since '98. And then, yeah, I mean, we've talked about Cabo Verde a lot. I mean, no one ever heard of them. And I look at, like, they perform well. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but you, like, take a look at where we are right this second. You look back and you're like, yeah, I guess they were deserving of being here. 64 teams is crazy, but maybe 10, 15, 20 years from now, it won't just be, like, we'll look to the future and get to the future and look back and be like, oh, there's more than just 6 countries who've won a World Cup now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is weird to think too. If I'm just saying, if this were to happen, if England were to win this World Cup, it will be the seventh straight different World Cup champion. So I mean, the parity's there. So
7 straight, but still a team that's won it before. I
well,
think we're still in the.
Spain was the one they won their first in 10, so they were in the middle there.
But I mean, how many total? Isn't there 7?
There's only 8
countries
teams that have
total?
technically won.
Okay.
There's 8 teams.
I just meant we're not getting like a new winner in the sense of like England's won it before.
Correct. Yeah.
But
The other,
yes,
the other weird thing about it though too, and people forget about this, this is only the 23rd edition of the World Cup. So
Yeah.
there's only been 23 after this. There will only be 23 winners. So, um, I mean, obviously, eight's still a fairly low number, but, it's not like there's been 50 of them. So,
Yeah. Every 4 years makes it a little difficult.
yeah. So, plus none in World War II. That would have been weird. So, it would have been some interesting times. But all right, well, let's jump into these matches since they're of such high quality. As I said, one, two, three, four in the world rankings, all going up against one another. And we'll just start out with Tuesday in Texas, France. I will say this is probably like the best offense in the world right now, going up against Spain, which looks like the best defense in the world right now. Um, Kicking off at noon. This should be a one for the ages, honestly.
Yeah, I'm drinking wine currently because we're at the Final Four and it's all class, top four teams. And the type of wine I'm drinking, I believe, is French wine. So as David said earlier, I even when France has looked the one game they had that they looked human was the Paraguay game, and they won with an Mbappe penalty kick. And but since then and before then, they've looked pretty much unstoppable. And this is like you said, Sean, a classic offense versus defense. And the thing that's hilarious is that France's defense is also just really, really good. But when you have guys like Dembele, Olise, Mbappe, um, I always blank on the left winger for France. Doué, I think his name is. Um, I mean, everyone on their team is world class. Rabiot, Chouameni. There's just and then all their bench guys. It's just wave after wave after wave. And I think, as we've seen with Spain, they've been getting by with defense, and they're going to have to get by with defense again and try to shut down this French attack. Can they do it? I think they can. Will they do it? I don't think so. I think it's just going to be too much for that Spanish defense. And one of the guys I mentioned, who I think should be up for the Golden Ball, which is best player of the tournament, is Michael Olise. The guy is absolutely incredible. He has like five, I want to say last I checked, like 5 assists. I mean, he is the engine to that team, while Mbappe is like, the superstar, like the goal scorer. And then you talk about those two guys, and then you have Dembele sitting there, who's won a Ballon d'Or before. And when you look at a Ballon d'Or, that's the best player in the world. And Dembele gets to just be the second fiddle to Mbappe, and then you have Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, Steve Nash, Magic Johnson, and Olise just setting these guys up. So yeah, I can't not go with France.
I really haven't seen anything that's going to tell me that France is going to lose this game. You scared me a little bit, James, by mentioning this classic offense versus defense, saying it that way, because I feel like historically the defensive team usually comes out on top in that situation. I think Spain better have a real different game plan than they've showed anything so far. But of course, this offense is different than anything they've played so far. But they're really, I think, if they can slow it down, play a little bit of the classic style that Spain has played, where they're holding possession for significant amounts of the game. They're playing slow. They're not letting themselves get opened up, because France has so much speed. I feel like there's several times every game that Mbappe gets in space and is just galloping. His top speed with the ball is just so insane. You look at him just moving past other people without the ball, and it's hard to fathom just how talented he is. But I really don't think that Spain is going to be able to handle this offense, especially once France gets a couple of goals. I'm not sure what the most goals we've seen out of Spain this tournament in a match, but it doesn't feel like they're built to match what France can do. Even though they're obviously really talented and the best team France has played, I do think France wins. But this is one of those matches that, even being confident in France, it's still what 60-40 that they win. Maybe 70-30 if you're like really confident. And how can you be shocked if Spain figures it out?
So I've ridden France throughout this whole tournament. I'm gonna take France, but I am gonna say some things about Spain really quickly that are pretty remarkable and could sway some people a little bit. Um, Spain hasn't lost a national match in almost 2.5 years. It goes back to March 22 of 24 when they lost to Colombia. In that time span of 2.5 years, they've actually played France twice, and they've beaten France twice. So they have taken them down. Is the exact same roster? No, it's not. But they're not going to be scared. They're not going to be going up against a unknown giant. They know France well. They play them. It seems like every year. I expect this to be. This might be the match of the tournament, which says a lot because there's already been 4 or 5 classics already in this tournament. But when they faced off against each other, Spain won 5-4. This could be just a crazy back and forth, just goal situation. Who knows? Um, I'm going to take France. They've just looked better throughout this tournament, but I expect a classic in this one. And Spain, there's something about a team that just doesn't know how to lose. And Spain just doesn't know how to lose.
I just need to see more of Lamine Yamal. I mean, I think if Spain wants a chance, I think he needs to have his moment, which he hasn't. I'm not even gonna say he hasn't really had. He hasn't had a moment yet. And then, honestly, Nico Williams being injured. I know he came on at the end of the Belgium game. I just think if he was able to play on the other wing across from Yamal, that offense would just open up so much more. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Spain's obviously very good and they don't lose, but it's funny to think that their golden generation technically is behind them with David Villa, Iniesta, I don't know, all those older guys that we grew up playing FIFA with, and they were always big Barcelona dudes. But yeah, I'm just gonna need to see more out of Yamal, and honestly, I think Nico Williams needs to play a full match, and I don't know how healthy he is. I was actually just googling right now to see what his deal was or what his injury was, but I wasn't getting much on the news aspect or news front, so I just don't think they have enough firepower.
All right, well, let's jump into Wednesday. England taking on Argentina. This game also at noon in Atlanta. Every match at this point. Well, I guess is this we're in the final four now, so I guess if Argentina loses, this may not be Messi's last match because he may get that third place game. So I'm going to hold that statement out. Never mind. But that ticket price, the low ticket price for this game, $3,000, not a cheapo. So who do we got? England, Argentina. Argentina has the flair for dramatic. England has looked pretty impressive these last few rounds.
Yeah, I think I've crapped on England a lot this tournament, and I'm gonna kind of switch gears, and I'm gonna take them to beat Argentina because, yeah, like you said, Argentina has a flair for the dramatic. Uh, I'm curious how much Messi can bring them out of a hole if guys like Kane and Bellingham continue to play how they're playing. And Bellingham, I think, has by far been England's best player. Obviously, Kane is having a golden boot type run at this World Cup, but Bellingham, I think, has just been amazing. I mean, he's had 2 braces already in this tournament, and prior to that, I don't think he'd scored no more than 1 goal in a game for England. Um, I think they just need to figure out their lineup a little more. I think Thomas Tuchel's kind of been tinkering quite a bit, and I think he needs to go with the big names a little more. He keeps playing Madueke up on the right wing, and it's like, dude, just play Saka. Saka's better. I know Declan Rice was dealing with illness earlier. I think there was like a bug that went through the team because a couple guys didn't play in the must have been the Mexico game that Declan Rice must have either got taken off at halftime. But anyways, I think they need to just play their best players and just don't second guess yourself, Tuchel. Don't tinker. Put your best lineup out there, because until I see something from Argentina that isn't messy, I know that there have been moments here and there that Argentina hasn't only scored just from Messi, but honestly, I think this entire tournament has been messy. Um, and maybe some. I know we talked early in this episode about FIFA and the referees. Uh, yeah, Argentina has had an easy path. The balls bounce their way. I don't think it does this game, and I think England. I think they pull it off, and I think they're one step closer to the cup finally coming home.
I think England is a slight favorite here, which is interesting, just because Argentina at this point feels like the team of destiny, uh, being one match away from a potential World Cup final or a final rematch is pretty interesting to think about. That we might actually get that. I don't recall the stat of exactly how long it's been since we've had a repeat champion, but I cannot imagine it's been anytime soon. So I have to give Argentina credit, even though that's not my favorite thing to do, because I really feel like they should have lost several of these matches already, and I'm not sure how they've survived. But you have to give them credit for that. At the end of the day, you can't choose your opponents. You just have to go out there and win, and they keep doing it. But I I do think this is the end of their run. That England is going to be ready for this, and maybe even more motivated. When is the last time England has been this far in the World Cup? I feel like England has their entire reputation the past 20 years has been disappointment. I think they've made it to a final of a Euro not that long ago, but I don't know. I have a strong feeling with England here. Bellingham has been pretty unquestionably like a top five player in this tournament. Maybe even the most impactful of anybody for their teams. He's up there with talking about not just offense, not just defense. He's doing everything for that team, and he scores these huge goals for them, which is I don't know. You add that to what Kane has done, and I'm really impressed with Gordon up the wing. I do think England's gonna score a few goals, and this is going to be a really exciting match. I think we're going to get real high scoring here. So I'm hoping England is gonna do this thing, but I don't know. I think this one's very tight, but I got England in a close one.
I'm going to take Argentina. Just, you know, it just feels like the stars are aligning for them that to have this happen. The rematch of France Argentina. I think it's the match that a lot of people want to see. A lot of star power, everything like that. I think this is going to be a phenomenal match. It may go to penalties. Like that's how tight it is. I kind of look throughout history here. They've faced each other. Well, this will be the 16th time they've faced each other. They've faced each other 15 times. England has the edge. 6 wins, Argentina 4 wins, and then 5 draws. So that's pretty much as even as it comes. They've actually faced each other 6 times in the World Cup, which I think is pretty impressive. England winning, well, this will be the 6th time. England winning 3, Argentina winning 2. But they haven't faced each other. These two nations haven't faced each other in 21 years. So it's been a long gap since these two teams have seen each other's colors. I'm going to take Argentina. I just think this Messi story continues onward. And I think it's a great England team. And the goalkeeper for them has been fantastic. Everything on the betting side says England. Heart says England. But Argentina just, there's something going on here that I'm saying they're going to win.
Well, you said it earlier in the podcast. I think comparing them to the Chiefs of what was it, two seasons ago, 2 or 3 seasons ago, where everything went their way. It's like, oh, Chiefs are down and out. Nope, they make a 60-yard field goal. Oh, Chiefs are down and out. Oh, it's a fumble recovery touchdown, or something crazy like that. I mean, it just really feels like Argentina's the Kansas City Chiefs of this tournament.
Yeah, maybe it helped out that they made their home base, Kansas City. I
There you
mean,
go.
I did think that was pretty funny.
Connections.
Yeah, yeah, they're using all the same stuff. They're drinking the same water out there. They're doing something. So, um, but that said, I got a question for you guys before we kind of wrap up here. Um, the 2022 World Cup Finals, posted that crazy number of 1.5 billion people that watched those semifinal games in 2022. They drew, 300 million on average at all time. That number is not completely known, but it's around a billion viewed in for each of those semifinal games. Do you think we're gonna these next four matches? They're all probably going over a billion eyeballs, right?
Oh, 100%. I think just with it being in America, you're going to get an American audience that typically you don't always get. I mean, the rest of the world, soccer is your number one sport. Here in America, it isn't. But the fact that it's going to be on, granted, the time's a little. David and I have talked about this. It's a little shitty that it's noon Pacific, 3 Eastern for I think both of these games on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. But who's to say that people won't be tuning in at work on a different tab or throwing up your personal computer if you're a remote worker from home or TV on in the background while you're working or something, or people taking a long lunch or something. I don't know, but yeah, if I had to guess, I would say it's probably going to go over.
I've been waiting for us to talk about numbers here, and so I can finally talk about these ridiculous match times. It is a travesty that we are accommodating the rest of the world while the host country gets the games in the middle of the afternoon during the middle of the week. What are we doing? Saturday was delightful, having a back-to-back matchup, being able to go out and watch with friends. The bars were packed, and like that was a great time. What are we doing? I don't understand it at all. I hope their numbers are terrible. I want it to be a horrible decision that backfires. But of course it won't, because we've accommodated the European markets. It's a great time in South America too. I'm sure Argentina is going to be hopping. So I'm happy for them, I guess, that it worked out that all the teams involved are getting great viewing times. So I'm sure it will break all the numbers that FIFA was dreaming about.
Yeah. Another thing, David, I had to bring this up, and thank you for reminding me. Another thing that I know has been grinding your gears throughout this tournament is the hydration breaks. Well, I think I learned why we've put in the hydration break, and you may have seen this article. Fox, during those hydration breaks, those little commercials that are happening, those little tiny boxes, just those, the 104 matches, are paying for the whole bill.
Oh my god.
They found out that just those paid for the whole thing.
Is there no end to their greed? We have to expand the tournament. Break. We should have multiple throughout the first half. It's box running still. I love that, to be watching a commercial as I see the ticker still going for the time. That's one of my favorite moments of the World Cup, actually. I don't know what we're doing. Like, I felt like Saturday was the first legitimate hydration break I'd even ever seen, having that match in Miami with all the humidity.
Oh, yeah.
For that, I'm like, I don't know. It feels like a reality. I don't see I don't see why they'd get rid of it, even though it's
if it's the TV markets are apparently making a bundle off of it. So those 30
Premier League better not do it.
Well, the fact that they've learned that they can make $500,000 for a 30-second ad that's not even taking up your full screen but a little mini box. I mean, they'll do it.
I do agree, though, that the times, accommodate. One, you're playing in America. Accommodate Americans who want to go attend these games. If you're from another country, or I guess I'll just say if you're from one of these other 4 nations and you're here, you're probably on holiday or vacation and PTO, so you're going to the game no matter what. And then America's the only country where our country doesn't shut down when a team plays. So no, it doesn't matter what time the game's played for Argentina. Obviously if it's Well, actually, they'd probably be pretty close to our time because they're just directly south of us. But the whole country shuts down when their national team plays. I mean, shops close, uh, people aren't working. I mean, obviously, I'm sure like bars and restaurants are open so people can go watch. But I mean, you see watch parties of like ginormous TVs and thousands of people there watching. It's like make it prime time in the country that it's being hosted in, just like how they did in Qatar. They didn't, oh, the U.S. we're gonna make it so it's nice for the U.S. fans to watch, even though we're playing in Qatar. Like, yeah, it's one. It's 1 o'clock for me in South Dakota, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. I mean, yeah. What? Why?
It is weird. It is really weird.
America has not quite adapted the the Spanish model of just putting a closed sign in the shop during the summer. We'll be back in August, but maybe we should adopt it. Maybe that's the real takeaway here. Why are we working in the summer? What are we doing? It's
Yeah,
hot. Let's go home.
summer vacation.
I'll also say this: Fox is going to have a field day on Tuesday, though, because they get to go from 12 o'clock, have that France-Spain match, which a lot of people will be watching, and they get to peel that into the MLB All-Star game. So it's going to be a good day for Fox. So, not
This
bad.
might be the first year I could care less. Yeah, I'll start.
But they're probably they'll get enough people just to not even flip the channel. So
I don't even know where it is. Where's
Philly,
the All-Star game this year?
Philly,
Oh, Philly.
yeah. The only reason
I
I
did
know that is because
I know.
they did it for the 250.
Oh, I was gonna say I do know that the home run derby. I know we're digressing into baseball, but the home run derby's on Netflix, so that'll be.
I saw that.
What?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I popped up. I didn't even realize it until I got an ad on, or it popped up on my Netflix right when I opened it. It's like, do you want to watch it, or do you want a reminder?
The home run. Actually, the 8 participants are really good in the home run derby. Sorry, football fans. We're talking baseball, but
It
it should be a good home run derby.
Yeah, it should be fun to watch. That's a fun event to watch in person.
Have you been?
Yeah, I went to the Seattle one 2 year in 23.
Oh, I went to the one in Arizona when it was in what was it 4, 13, 12, 2010? I can't remember.
It was
what
somewhere right around. It was 11, 12, 13, somewhere around there. Yeah.
I went with Ross. Ross and I went.
Oh, really?
That was like the big controversy of Ricky Weeks got picked by Prince Fielder when everyone's like, why didn't they pick Justin Upton when you're in Arizona?
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Ricky Weeks was awful. I don't think he hit a home run.
There's a name I haven't heard in a while. All right. Well, anything else want to talk about before we jump off here?
I don't think so. I'm getting kind of sports depressed thinking that the World Cup's coming to an end. I mean, I know we still have semifinals and then the third place game Saturday, finals Sunday, but I'm like, oh my god, it's already almost over.
The one thing that's going to save us is the fact that the final happens on the 19th, and then we just got to wait like 2 weeks, and we get our first preseason football game.
Well, I mean, I saw a Scott Hansen text or a Scott Hansen tweet that was I think it proclaimed 9 Sundays. That's all we have. That's how far away we are. So
We're not
it's not so
far.
bad.
We're not far.
Well, Premier League starts in August, so we're like a month away from
Yeah.
the biggest soccer league coming back.
Everything kicks back off, and it's like, yeah. All right. Well, hopefully our predictions are right, and I think we'll probably be back on Thursday or Friday because I'm gonna guess we're gonna want to talk about the third place game as well, because with this high level of teams, every match is going to be great at this point. So we'll be back on Thursday or Friday talking these matchups and the matchups to be championship third place match, everything that happened. Have a great week, everyone. And stay cool out there. We're going to get rain in Arizona all week. It's going to be great. All right. See y'all later.